Hey, Jarek here, and I have a little bit different of a video because this guy has brought along his modded MotoBlitz. My microphone setup also is not exactly meant for two people. This is literally my streaming microphone, so audio may sound kind of strange, and I apologize for that. But this is his, so I wanted him in the video, and this works quite a bit differently than the default Nerf MotoBlitz. But that's where modders come in, because this no longer fires full-length darts. It fires half-length darts, and it has a mag adapter in there. Interestingly enough, there's no mag release for the half-length darts. You really, really have to yank that thing out. Like, once that's locked in...
Oh, that was actually easy that time. There.
I was afraid he was gonna hit me. Like, you really do have to yank it. You'll see it when we're shooting this thing. But he hasn't modified the shotgun. This part is still the same as it always has been, but he went over to Out of Darts to pick up a bunch of parts. Out of Darts are local to us, which was a total coincidence. I had no idea. I bought the Nerf Jupiter. They're not the Nerf Jupiter. That is an actual product. I bought the Out of Darts Jupiter, the ridiculous fast-firing, rival ball shooting foam blaster, which I think is one of your favorites.
Yeah, and because you shot me in the back with it. Twice.
He wanted to. That wasn't me.
Fair enough.
Yeah, when I ordered the Jupiter, I noticed the box said that it was coming from the local metro area that I'm in. And I was like, oh, okay, so they're really cool and really close. And you found that out and went, okay, well, I can just get modded parts by driving 15, 20 minutes away from my house.
Yeah.
So what exactly did you do?
What I did to this, first off...
Lean closer to the mic so they can really hear you.
What I did to this was I first added the half-length adapter, which is very important that you get the right adapter. This one are for flywheels only. There are two different ones that look kind of the same. This is for flywheels, and make sure you get this one for a flywheel. Now, if you're working on a MotoBlitz, it's also very important. You need to Dremel or file down this little corner here for it to fit in this magwell right here. So once you get that started in, if it's perfectly nice, and you're able to at least load half-length darts. What you also need to do is get a little pusher in here to extend the rod to fire half-length darts. And then you're good to go with half-lengths. Waffle heads, at least. Other darts I've tried don't really work until you add the new flywheel in. They are the Daybreak flywheels, which are offered on Out of Darts' website, and they offer entire new cage, wiring pre-cuts, the rubber shrink that goes around them. They have all the kits you need, all the items you need, except for the tools you will have to do yourself. I did everything with a sharp pair of cutting snips, pliers, and an X-Acto knife, and sandpaper, but I highly recommend using a Dremel. It just makes things a lot quicker.
That's like kind of a ghetto way to do it, but like a Dremel is like, that'll take you 5 minutes compared to what you did. Oh, important to mention, you also obviously rewired it to use a regular LiPo.
Yeah.
This takes a 2S LiPo.
The battery compartment's right here. It does not fit my LiPo, so you're going to be a little clever unless you got a tiny one. Make sure it's a 2-cell one, not a 3-cell. It'll burn out the motors. But other than that, yeah, it's pretty self-explanatory. Modifying it it's easy. The Out of Darts has guides online on how to modify the MotoBlitz. Exactly. It's very highly recommended you watch that video as you do it. It's very simple, very clear, and honestly just a great guide altogether. It's
just a clamshell. Open it, replace some things. It's important to mention that this is not full auto. That is something we didn't mention. There's not really anywhere to make a pusher spin to constantly push it forward, so it's going to have to be semi-automatic, but it does shoot significantly harder than the default one. I think the default shot 75 FPS?
68 to 74 FPS on average. This shoots around advertised with a 41mm cage at around 144 150 FPS with short lengths. You can fire full lengths through this, you just don't need this or the pusher. You fires full lengths just fine, but I find short lengths yield better results, and yeah, it advertised around that FPS range.
Yeah, he wanted to see those results. He wanted to do a pain test and wanted me to shoot him. So let's cut to that clip. All right, now we're doing the pain test. He wants me to shoot him with his own gun. See how it feels. There's 2 in this mag. Just a quick double tap. But I missed with both. Oh. I missed with both. Give me 2 more darts.
Oh, fine. Ow. Okay, we're done. We're done shooting with that thing.
So what did it feel like?
Ow!
Just kind of sting a little bit? Did it nowhere near as bad as the V6?
No, but...
I mean, in general power, though.
Little Timmy's gonna cry.
I mean, little Timmy's always gonna cry.
Little Timmy's gonna cry hard.
It's important to mention that we were firing Worker Gen 3s. Waffle heads work a lot better with this. They're going to be a lot more accurate. I found that the Worker Gen 3s were really inaccurate. Like, I was aiming in the same spot at him both of those times. One went to the left of him completely and missed on the first time. The other barely nicked. No, I think the first shot went way to the right and the left barely nicked you.
Yeah.
It's just that inaccurate if not using waffle heads. But it's flywheeler thing sometimes. Other than that, you haven't done any, like, external, like, modifications. It still looks like the MotoBlitz is...
Yeah.
Which, to be fair, the MotoBlitz is one of the more aesthetically appealing guns, in my opinion, that Nerf has released. I think it's this and then, like, the Ultra Speed to me kind of look pretty good, but other than that, I don't quite usually care for Nerf aesthetics.
I just like the idea of turning into basically the equivalent of an Agpara, which is
If it's not full auto, that doesn't count to me. That just, it has to be full auto to be an Agpara.
One thing I recommend though, I wish Nerf made these sights actually useful and higher up. These sights you cannot use. You have to press your face against these, and good luck if you have a giant face like mine.
Even if you could see through this, it's so obstructive it's not going to help you. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised you didn't modify it to take a regular, like, Picatinny on top.
That's what I'm doing next.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense to do that.
I'm doing that next.
I noticed you also mentioned, flip it down to the battery compartment. This battery compartment is not huge. Wasn't it by default, like, 4 AA's, was it?
Yeah, 4 AA stacked 2 and 2.
So that's as much space as you have. So you basically are going to need some sort of kind of like a blockier stick type. Or what you want to do is rewire it to use a PEQ box with a Picatinny on the side, kind of like what Airsoft does.
Yeah, that's
which
what the plan is.
Makes sense. Personally, I'd probably just find like a stick type that fits, but like that's just me being lazy and not wanting to do more work. I'm notoriously lazy when it comes to modding stuff. I would much rather have someone else do it for me, but I'm also making videos full time for another channel, and when I have a day off, I want that day off to be nothing. Which I need that day to do absolutely nothing. Anyway, it's pretty fun. It's pretty fun to shoot. Your finger is definitely going to get very tired when you're shooting this, for sure, with it being semi-auto, and it's a very long pusher, because it's modified to be from full length to half length, so you're having to pull a lot more on the trigger than normal.
Way more give. I mean, it's way stronger because they requires 2 springs.
It's also important to mention, I don't know how we didn't mention this, this takes regular worker Talon mags.
Yeah.
So you have the 18 rounders down there, go ahead and pull that out. So like these work with it perfectly fine too. So there you go. I find that that's sort of the standard that Nerf has gone to for a while now, at least like off-brand, like hobbyist Nerf stuff generally wants Talon mags. Everyone has a million of them. I want to simply use Talon mags, and then I get all these off-brand ones, and I expect it. I'll buy like Chinese brand ones that are really gimmicky and cool, and then the magazine is almost identical to a Talon mag and it doesn't work. But thankfully, with this just being a modification, you can just use your Talon mags.
If you bring this to Nerf games, modified ones, just be mindful. Always keep in mind of how powerful your gun is.
Yeah, if there is an FPS limit and that FPS limit is like 100 or something like that, like this won't work. And if you don't tell them that it's modified,
little Timmy's gonna cry. He's gonna cry a lot.
Yeah, that's a little rude, but
Timmy deserves it.
What do you got against Timmy's? I think that's really it. We did have one problem, and this is a very, very common problem when it comes to actually just Nerf stuff in general. One of the springs came off with a pusher. And at first we thought it was like a bigger issue because the spring that came off wedged itself into the flywheels, but not fully. So there was a bit of like burning smell. We thought maybe one of the solders went off or whatever until we noticed the spring in there. And yeah, it's just the pusher needs to have a spring replaced. So I didn't get an extra angle of like shooting at the camera with this. So we got most angles I wanted, and I just kind of went, that's good enough. I also did want to chrono it, but my chrono is a pain to use, especially with this sort of a muzzle brake on it. it's very hard to line up into my chrono, so they say it fires 145. I'm just gonna take their word for it. But I think that's pretty much it. I mean, it's a pretty cool project. If you want to modify one of these things, it's pretty easy to. I mean, we didn't, but this is easy to modify as well. I've already seen videos of people that have done that. But we kept it as standard in this video, and we still shot it quite a bit in the video, because, I mean, it's cool having... It's like an underslung shotgun, more or less.
Master Key.
Yeah, I mean... It's fun. So we shot it in pretty much every single take I did.
Check out Darts, especially if you're West Coast, around the Washington, Oregon area. Check them out. They're really cool guys. Make all sorts of cool stuff. Not just for this, but if you have a flywheel that you want to modify, they'll most likely have the parts for it too. They have everything. Almost everything.
Yeah, I'll put a link down below to Out of Darts website. I think it's just outofdarts.com. It's very easy. They're pretty well known within the hobbyist Nerf scene at this point. And I couldn't recommend them enough. I've had nothing but good experiences with them. They seem to be pretty cool, fun, kind-hearted guys. So yeah, go check them out. That should be it. We got a lot of footage of shooting this thing, so let's just roll it.